Welcome to StoryBreakers, the show where we come up with a brand new film idea every single episode. And if you like it, it's yours. I'm your host, Christopher Brennan, and let me introduce you to my co-host, Mr. Stephen Ryan.
Hello, guys.
We have news. That guy that was here last week,
he's back.
After talking about the film noir thing in the last episode, Mr. Conor Dowling decided he'd show up and give us something brand new. So, Mr. Conor Dowling's here.
Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for having me back.
Welcome back.
I've been thinking about Gremlins all week and wanted to come back in and have a chat about some film noir.
Sweet.
Okay, yeah. So you don't have an idea going forward, right? Because you'd be kicked to the curb if you're coming in pitching an idea.
I don't really know much about film noir. I've seen a handful. I think my favourite film noir movie is Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. You ever seen that? Steve Martin. It's like a comedy.
I know the poster.
It's amazing.
Is he wearing plaid?
No, and there's a great line in it at the end. He goes, there's something my old partner used to always tell me. He used to always say, "Dead men don't wear plaid." Never knew what he meant. But it's a great movie. It's a comedy movie in the 80s, and it's cut together from loads of old film noir movies. So you've got Humphrey Bogart in it, and you've got all these other famous people from over the years. It's really clever. Cool. That's my extent of knowledge.
Sweet. Don't worry, you're not alone, because I'm probably in the exact same boat.
Okay, cool. Well, just to kind of take it back a little bit, in the last episode, the Gremlin reboot, which if you haven't heard that, go check that out, because, I don't know, it seemed to have gotten a pretty good reaction. But in the last one, we mentioned a couple of other podcasters came up with some film noir ideas, and I mentioned them here. And afterward, we're chatting to Conor, and he was like, I've never done that. Sounds like an interesting idea. So we thought it would be an excellent episode 3. So here we are. We're going to make up a brand new film noir idea. And if you like it, it's yours. And that actually goes for Conor as well. Like, you can keep the material that pops out of your brain.
Oh, that's
it's intellectual property, I suppose, as a whole.
Okay, so I think we'll just jump right into it. And in order to do this, we'll play a little game, like a little multiple choice game to kind of like massage the idea out of you. We'll get the setting, we'll get the first act, and once we hit that point, as usual, we'll start building the scene and we'll break the story.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to play the StoryBreakers saying, "Bidum-doo-doo-doo-doo."
That is not a song.
It is now. It is now.
We're going to take that jingle loop and put that in every single episode from now on. Okay, so I think first and foremost, knowing that it's film noir, I guess I have to ask, what era are we talking about? Is it the future, is it the past, or is it the present?
I think I'll go with the past.
The past?
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. I mean, it's a standard kind of thing. Yeah.
So
what kind of era are we talking about? Like what year? Not specifically, but do you have like kind of a
rough decade? Or
the 40s.
Okay, 40s. Okay, wow, we're really sticking with the film noir thing. And so who's your main character? Is it a guy? Is it a girl?
I think it's a guy, yeah.
Okay. And what is he? Is he a private eye? Or are we going to move off the private eye stuff?
I'm going to stick with the private eye.
That's cool.
Is that not the standard staple? You have to have a private eye, don't you, for noir?
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Private eye and one of the hats. What do you call it?
Fedora?
Fedora,
yeah.
That's it.
And shadows. Okay, so we have a private eye in the 40s. That sounds like noir to me. Okay, so what's happening with this guy? Is it a murder that he's trying to solve, or is it like a caper? Or
are we going straight noir, or are we going to do like a subgenre?
I'd like to go subgenre with it just so it is a little bit different. So
okay.
I was thinking horror, but then I remembered recently I watched that movie Dylan the Dog. And I wasn't too big a fan of that movie. That was a horror noir thing. So I was thinking I might go sci-fi.
Sci-fi, cool.
Yeah. A sci-fi noir in the 40s.
In the 40s, yeah.
I don't think I've seen that before. I've seen things where they try to do like futuristic stuff.
Like Blade Runner is a little bit like that, maybe.
Yeah.
There's a bit of noir.
Yeah, that's always like on a different planet, or it's way into the future. And,
it's the neo-noir, but now this is like going back to the traditional. You want to put like a sci-fi element into it. And what kind of science fiction are we talking about?
Are we going aliens?
Aliens.
Aliens, okay.
We'll do aliens.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have aliens in a 1940s. I don't know, like
Roswell?
Yeah.
What are we talking about here?
Yeah,
Roswell? Okay.
All right, so
New Mexico.
when was Roswell?
I'm a big Roswell buff, so I happen to know it's 1947.
Okay.
Yeah, 1947.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure?
So.
Pressure's on.
Well, see, okay, like most noir films actually are always set in LA. It's funny, even like the modern stuff like Big Lebowski happens to be LA, but we still have like a real cool like deserty kind of feel. Like, you know, you got the sand.
Close to Nevada.
Yeah, like we got New Mexico here, which is pretty cool. And I'd say we stick with that. That's really cool. Like, what do you think? Like Roswell, like that sounds like an amazing thing for a private eye in a noir film to already be. Once you say Roswell, my interest is piqued because you've just added something absolutely different.
Yeah, maybe it's something that we haven't really seen before to do with Roswell. You know, there have been a lot of movies and I think TV shows that have touched on it, but throw the noir detective in there and see what happens.
But like with noir, but that's kind of the only subgenre you're talking about. It's still going to have the seriousness of most noir films. I feel like once Roswell anymore is mentioned, it's made fun of. Like it's like a cheeky poke at it. It's a comedy.
Right. Yeah.
Well, it's been a while since I've seen somebody try to tackle it in a serious faced manner. So is that the kind of way you want to go?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and it would be the kind of thing where, you know, Roswell happens, you know, in his timeline. You know, it's not something that has already happened and he's investigating. It's like, you know, he's on a case and then the crash happens and it's
so he's my god, that'd be awesome. So you basically have like the start of a film. It's just a standard noir film.
Yeah, like he's on a regular case.
So you can even have a woman come in, hire him. Is that kind of where we're going with it?
Yeah, I'm thinking a woman hires him. She's like the mistress of some high up government official guy. Yeah, and she wants him to
take photographs.
To find out what he's up to. What this guy's up to is he's off with his actual family, you know. but the mistress is sending this guy from, and you know, for the private eye, it's just another normal case. Yeah, you know. But then along the way, he gets messed up somehow in the whole Roswell thing.
So basically, as we're saying, is then the detective, as in all noir, he goes on a specific mission and he just so happens to fall into another scenario and he gets tangled up in that. Yeah. So basically, he's getting tangled up in the Roswell scenario.
The thing is, before going forward, one of the coolest things, like for me personally, I love film noir. One of the coolest things about those classic ones is the fact that two cases that are seemingly unrelated are related near the end. So
his family is aliens.
He's an alien.
No, but without going further, I just think it's important to put that idea out there that we don't actually know where we're going here yet, but knowing that in usual noir circumstances, these two cases can be connected later on down the line. So it may not happen here, but it's just that kind of feels like it could occur, you know, because it really gives credence to the first act as well. Like, it doesn't feel like it was a completely different film, like From Dusk Till Dawn, which it was just a completely different genre, a different film. This could tie it back. That's what noir books are like. That's what the Dashiell Hammett, that's the Raymond Chandler kind of style.
Basically, they know how to do a twist. It's not just going off and doing something else. They know how to twist the story.
Oh, the twist is set up from the start.
Okay, so he gets, I love this, like, it feels real Chinatown. Like, he gets hired by a woman to take photos of the husband. Like, that feels so familiar, which I'm cool with because it's giving the audience something completely different. So whenever that alien stuff is revealed, like, it just feels like, oh my god, like it's ripped out of somewhere else. Yeah. So he's basically going to follow them. And you mentioned before that you have your own twist as well with the fact that it's a mistress hiring somebody. Does she not know he has a family?
I don't think so. No, I think she thinks, you know, her boyfriend is up to something fishy, but she's the actual one who's she's the actual secret. You know, she's the secret from his real family. I like that. But I'm thinking about the detective himself. And
what's his name? Should we give him a name?
The detective.
There's like we had Philip Marlowe. We had.
Can we just call him Gary because we had that Gary in the last episode?
I know I might get confused,
but I'm already confused. I don't remember anybody's names. So.
Okay. You have the phone out. You're taking it down.
I'm writing this stuff down, man, because I always forget the names. I'm terrible.
Otherwise, you're going to start talking about Justin Long next. You know?
Yeah.
Actually, first off, who do you see playing him? Like, what age bracket? Like,
let's put an image in these people's heads.
Say early 30s, because I'm thinking of a private eye who's trying to kind of make a name for himself.
All right.
Maybe he's a bit of a fuck up. You know, he's not your washed up, you know.
So he's trying to cut his teeth, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when you were saying this at first, to be honest, I was thinking John Hamm.
I love the idea of John Hamm. I think,
he's not really early 30s, but
I was waiting for my turn to speak so I could say John Hamm. But okay,
he's got that face. I think I know he's in.
He's
Mad
an old-fashioned
Men.
guy, isn't he? That's what he is.
He's in Mad Men for that, but he has the look of what Mad Men really describes somebody who could easily be a private eye.
Yeah,
like he drinks a lot. He's quiet. He's smoldering. Like. So, I mean, is that you kind of can see a character?
I love that idea. I know it doesn't really fit in with what I was saying.
But if you want 30s, what about we go for the guy who's in The Guest, the blonde-haired guy? Do you remember that slasher movie?
He's great, but I'm just picturing John Hamm now.
Oh, we'll say John Hamm.
Okay, John Hamm. Okay, let's go.
It's mainly just to give us a character in our mind to kind of push through this story.
Yeah, but I'm still for the thing of him trying to cut his teeth, and
that's no problem. Like I can see a lot of from my experience in private detectiveship. Like I can see it easily being a guy who was an ex-cop who decided to start up his thing. Like Jake Gittes in Chinatown was an ex-cop too, and usually like they come from that different background. They don't become a private eye so early. They kind of like wash up on the shore of becoming a private eye.
What then if he was a cop who had to give it up for some reason? But basically, he wasn't a beat cop or a detective. He was like someone who just worked in the offices of the police station. He has no experience in this whatsoever.
Clerical.
Yeah, exactly. So then
kind of staff,
he loses his job for whatever reason, and then
didn't have much field experience kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So when he loses his job, he's like, okay, what do I have to do? Someone says, "Where to be a PI?" And he's like, okay. You're obviously an ex-cop, be a PI. He's like, oh, in fact, I'll be a PI.
I'm a personal fan of like days, like settings. Like either it's like a holiday or it's like a specific day that matters to characters. And for some reason, I'm just seeing like this guy literally like setting up his company that day, and like somebody knocks on the door. Like he's just finished like putting his name on the glass pane window, and like he doesn't expect a case to come through. Yeah. He's on day one. He's starting out, opens the door, sits down, pours himself like a scotch or whatever. And like knock on the door
before he gets his first sip.
It's just I don't know. It's like it may have happened before, but I can't recall a time where we always meet these people when they're like they're years deep into the cases, you know.
Yeah, but like what you're saying, it's like we're seeing him on essentially the first day of the rest of his life. We're seeing him on the first day of his journey. So it makes sense to have him on the first.
What if you already had an ad in the paper? So when the woman knocks on his door, she's like, "I rang the phone number, but there was no line. It was just like engaged." And he looks at the phone. He hasn't even had time to plug the phone in yet.
Or it's even like thing was like, it's they're coming on Monday or whatever. Like we haven't even officially opened yet. I guess pardon me, you'll probably hear me say this a lot in this podcast, but I'm just not a real big fan of James Bond. Only because he's the world's best spy, and I don't find that interesting. Yeah. I think don't follow the world's best spy.
He's not the world's best spy if he keeps on getting caught.
Every single time.
He can always sex his way out of it some way or another, you know?
So immediately I'm enjoying this idea that he's inexperienced, he's wary. Like, it's so more interesting now. Yeah. So we have this character.
That's why when he does get into this whole Roswell thing, that it's the biggest case imaginable. You know, it's bigger than...
And it's his first case.
It's his first case, and that's it, you know? And is he ready for it? He's not, but he's going to have to be, you know?
Yeah, he just, like, wishes about he could go back to the clerical work, you know? A typo will not try to kill you, you know?
This is a classic sports story where the third choice quarterback gets thrown into the game for the final.
Jamie Foxx.
You know?
he's vomiting before he starts. Okay, so we have a woman. She shows up. She hires him for a case. It kind of seems like he's like, I could do this, you know? Yeah. And there's this kind of level where he's like...
It's a simple follow.
He's never been knocked back. Like, he's just full of confidence. Like, this is cool. Like,
you can even have a little fun with the thing where he doesn't know where to stand to take photos, you know? Like, you can have fun with this and make that an interesting thing anyway. Like, make that its own little film where... It is difficult if you never snuck up and took photos of people.
That's interesting. Yeah. It's just learning kind of thing.
What do you want me to do? I want you to take photographs of my boyfriend and see what he's doing. Okay, I'll do that. The next scene, when he's going to take the photographs, he's actually going in to buy a camera. Right. You know, he hasn't got the equipment. Like, he's actually going to buy the camera to take the photographs. So he's like reading the instructions while he's trying to take the photographs of the guy.
And the cool thing is, I think, aside from the last one, like Gremlins was all plot heavy. I think it's so cool that we're starting out with this character and forming who he is, because it's such a character. Noir is so character driven that like you have to kind of figure him out before we can find out what his decisions will be later on. You know,
I think as well with those Noir movies, it's like those sort of characters, you have to be that kind of character where you're just willing just to go with the flow. Like a reserved person would not follow the leads or go down the alleyways. Like, a normal person wouldn't say, that's a dark alleyway, that looks a bit dangerous, I'm not going to go. Noir detective, PI, always like, he doesn't care about that stuff. He just goes, he's inquisitive, he's like, okay, I'll follow this thread.
When this guy is finding his clues, he's enthusiastic. He's like, oh, great, a clue. So great, a dark alley.
So he will never turn down anything. He'll be like, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it.
So do you think that he goes off and he does take photos of them? Or are we saying that he goes off and they go through Roswell? Is it on his first encounter that he takes the photos?
I don't think it should be that early, I think it could be one of those things where it looks like case closed. Oh, well, what's happening with your boyfriend is he's got a family. Here's the photos.
To go back to Chinatown, that's what happened. He closed. He thought he closed the case.
I think they did the same thing in Jaws as well when they find
the tiger shark.
Yeah, exactly. It's like false equilibrium or something. It's called.
It's like 15 minutes in, we've already.
Everything's fine.
In Chinatown, he's hired by a woman to follow her husband take photos of the affair. He does that, and then another woman shows up saying, "Yes, you printed these. Like somebody printed these photos in the paper." And he's like, "So?" And she's like, "I'm his wife." And he's like, "Who the hell hired me then?" Yeah. Like immediately, it's cool. Like, so I like this because we know that that's not the story. So I don't mind like playing with that kind of idea. But it's cool that like he does take the photos. It seems okay. Then what happens? Like something? Does he have to do it again?
He's after going around spying on someone who's pretty high up in the government. That's the kind of thing I'm thinking that's going to get noticed.
Oh, so maybe then she doesn't tell him what he does for a living.
Yeah,
he's stumbling. He's following this guy, not knowing what he's getting himself into.
Like some sort of high-ranking military officer or something like that.
Yeah, he's following like a general, and he doesn't. So he's seeing all these handoffs. He doesn't pay any attention to it. He's
taking photos.
He's taking photos of like these meetings between a general and someone else of importance. And he's just taking photos, like seeing what he does during the day. He doesn't realize what he's getting.
I do think he should. The person he's following should meet a woman. He follows them. He doesn't see anything because I think he should be that bad at it.
He doesn't know what he's looking for.
Yeah. He sees them chatting. He sees them close to each other. But he leaves, and you could even have a thing where I don't know how you show it, but maybe they do go off to a hotel, and like he drives away. He's frustrated, and once he drives away, they leave together and they kiss. So it's kind of like you messed up. Like you were like you left 1 minute before the money shot. Shows the wife, and she's like, "That's not conclusive enough. Like you can show me."
The mistress.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So it shows the mistress. He's like, "There's a woman," and she was like, "That doesn't mean anything though. Like." I want you to get me evidence. That's just a guy talking to a girl. So it's cool. You have this idea, but you haven't really solved it yet, which means he has to go out and follow again. That seems pretty reasonable, right?
Yeah, he needs to go back into it,
Because that's when I think so you have like the day one, like that first day. He does okay. He learned a lot. I love the buying the camera thing. So then, is it second day he hits Roswell?
I think so. I'm thinking... I don't even know if does he stumble across Roswell, or does he, that where he gets like picked up by some sort of government people, whether it's the feds.
Like, what are you doing?
In these movies it's usually like mafia or something like that.
Yeah.
And they pick him up and they rough him up.
Well, there's someone following him.
Yeah.
So he's following a car, and then the car pulls off somewhere, and he can't see it. So he gets out of the car, and he's looking around this area, but he doesn't know that he stumbled onto the Roswell area of the crash. Sorry, let's go back, just so we know where we're going with it. Is he going to witness the crash? Is he going to stumble upon a crashed vessel? What kind of alien? We should figure out before we can lead him to this spot. What is he actually? What's his involvement in this?
He's going to witness the crash, but from a distance while he's surveilling the.
Does he get it on camera? Does he accidentally take a photo of them and something happened in the background?
What if he
kind of like Super 8, where they accidentally film it, but he accidentally took a photo of like this thing crashing into the ground?
I like it better that if he doesn't take the photograph, but he looks through the viewfinder to see what it is. Like he's using it as a binoculars, and then just whoever's watching him to see what he's doing there. Sees him taking photographs, basically from what their opinion.
Cool.
So when they're obviously going to have an interrogation scene. It's like, what were you taking photographs for? I wasn't taking photographs. Why are you lying to us? We seen you taking photographs. I wasn't taking photographs. I don't have any film. Where is the film? how did you get rid of the film so fast? You know, and it's like, I didn't.
Where's your ID? It comes Tuesday.
It's like, I don't have it. I'm moved into the office. Like,
I can even see a funny scene where like he's in the camera shop and they're like, "Would you like binoculars?" He says no, and now he really needs binoculars. So he's forced to kind of like really just focus with the camera. Like, it's
some weird reason I see John Hamm playing Marty McFly in Back to the Future 2. You know, the leather jacket, the little walkie-talkie, and the sun.
Okay, so we're saying that he witnesses the crash itself. How far away is he though? Like, is it like a dot in the distance, or?
I say it's like a little explosion in the distance.
Yeah,
he sees like a little puff of like a fireball.
You can see something.
When you're saying this,
this is a falling star. Basically, you're going to see this coming from in the sky. It's like, what is that falling from the sky?
So is he? So just to kind of put us in the scene itself, he's following a couple. They pull in somewhere. I'm kind of picturing he's elevated when this happens and they're down below.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Does that make sense? Like, so they could be in a car, roof down, and he goes up like onto a kind of an elevated position and he's looking down on them.
Like a little hillside kind of.
Yeah, just because if you're going to have him see something in the distance, I don't really feel it if it's going to be flatland.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be like he's elevated and something just occurred. And that's when you're saying that maybe someone sees them take a photo.
Yeah, I think that the guy he's following knows he's being followed. Maybe, you know, he has that. Like he's a general. Yeah. He's going to cop onto some doofus following him, but he doesn't know what it is, so he gets a tail for the PI. Then
could it be? Because I'm thinking now, does it have to be that the spaceship crashes into the ground? Could it be like he sees them like shooting it down or something? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like there's an extra layer of conspiracy on top of the all like the Roswell.
But what if he doesn't see that? But that is what happens. Yeah,
okay,
he doesn't see that. Maybe he just sees something falling. Like anything it could be a helicopter, it could be a plane, it could be like a meteoroid, it could be anything.
Yeah, and he doesn't know. He's not like, that was,
I'd love for him to be oblivious to the whole thing. So when he's in an interrogation, because you're going to have an interrogation, he's not lying to the people who's interrogating him. But he's not giving them the answers that they need, and they know that he's at their scene, but really he hasn't, you know. So
to go back to, I love the idea with him taking the camera out, looking through.
So he looks through the viewfinder.
But you said he wasn't taking photos?
No, he sees an explosion. He sees something happen in the far distance. He lifts up the camera and looks through the viewfinder to see what it is.
Okay, so how we can do that is he's already taken the photos of the couple. And we can put this in earlier, like the guy asked him how much film does he want. He goes for a little bit of film. He runs out of film.
One roll.
And as he's packing things up because he has no more film, he sees something, so he looks out. So he can't take another photo.
Cool.
They think he's taken a photo. Yeah. So I like that because now he doesn't have evidence. Yeah. But he's seen something, and they've seen him, which looks like he's taken a photo.
Well, that's it. It's like taking a photograph of a mime. It doesn't make a difference, you know. Taking a photograph of a guy looking through a camera.
That's oddly specific.
It doesn't tell the story.
I've never heard that expression before.
But yeah, like, you know, you take a photograph of a guy looking through a camera. You don't know if he's recording something, taking a photograph, or just looking through a viewfinder. You just don't know.
Okay, so then that's where we're at. He's basically taking the photo. Let's go back to that part. So he's followed the couple, taking photos of them. A crash has occurred in the distance. He takes the camera out, and then people find him. Is that where we're at right now? Are you comfortable with this?
Yeah, I'm just.
So yeah, let's go back to you.
Sure what's happened with the couple? They are because they're involved in the crash, like right.
Yeah,
they're he's a government guy.
Maybe she works with him then.
Yeah, like that's what I'm wondering.
His wife works with him,
so it's not necessarily a date, is it? It's like.
Yeah, they're going to obviously you're gonna
to the crash site.
Yeah, if there's something falling through the sky, like if there's a meteorite or a UFO, whatever, the government are gonna know about. They're gonna have like satellites. They're gonna see it, so they're going to see what this is.
So the husband and the wife are in the car. Is that it?
Yeah, the general and the
you said the mistress hired him. So the wife in the car. Is that right?
Another lovely thing would be if he has to phone the mistress to free him from the custody. He's like, look, there's only one person who can back my story up. Let me call her. So he calls the mistress, and the mistress then comes to the side. Like basically, she's the one that said, "Actually, he is telling the truth." Yeah. So now you have these four people.
Or she's like, "I've never seen this man before."
Yeah.
What?
Okay, so that's really cool. I like that. So we're saying they're there because they know what's going to happen.
I think so.
Are they aware that something's occurring?
They're not just like on a date and that happens, you know what I mean?
But our character does not know that.
He doesn't know that.
He thinks they're
they're on a date,
they're canoodling.
Yeah.
Which is a word.
Yeah.
We'll look it up.
They're going off on a drive.
That's it.
Ooh.
They're at Makeout Creek.
So cool. So what we have is then a PI who's at there opened up his business, gets a job straight away from a mistress who wants information on her boyfriend, who she doesn't realise she's a mistress at the time.
Yeah.
Or the PI goes off, takes photographs, doesn't get enough evidence to satisfy the mistress. So he goes off on the next day. He goes and follows the husband and the wife going off on the drive, and he starts taking photographs of them. Runs out of film. An incident occurs in the desert in Nevada. He doesn't know what it is. Looks through a viewfinder. Just so happens someone's following him.
I'm thinking the interrogation scene comes up. Or actually, no. What do you think happens next?
So after that, I think then he's collared.
Yes,
he's grabbed straight away
Yeah.
into interrogation.
That makes sense,
and
right?
It's full on CIA, FBI, whatever it is.
And I gotta say, I'm a huge fan of interrogation scenes.
Oh, yeah.
They're so cool.
There's so many different ways you can do it.
Yeah.
Especially
when you have a guy clueless in that room.
Absolutely. He's like, oh no, I'm a private investigator. I was a cop for a couple of years. And then like, smack. You know, they just like punch him in the face. He was
phone book style.
Yeah, you know.
I'd say we take a little bit. Do you ever read any James Ellroy? Like, he's the writer of LA Confidential.
Okay. Cool.
Like, he does a lot of interrogation scenes, and they're like losing teeth style. Like, so they like hit people with phone books. And, like, they're really kind of brutal, like breaking chairs on people. Yeah. Not saying we go that way, but like we can keep it open to the fact that could occur.
What year did you say? 47, was it?
40s, yeah.
So like there's no human rights in this situation. Like these are
the type of guys who are going to cover up alien crash landings, so they're going to be able to cover up smacking around in private.
This guy is, the way I'm looking at it is, he's going to be lucky if he gets out of this room alive.
Yeah. And
so, how do you think this interrogation goes?
I think he's just trying to explain himself. You know, he's saying
and they're not buying it. They're not going to buy it.
Of course not. No.
Not at all. They think he's after taking photos of the crash site.
So who sent him? That's the kind of line of questions.
Yeah.
Who are you working for?
What are you doing here? What did you see?
So I think he's just going to tell them. He's just going to tell them everything, isn't he?
Well, tell them what he knows, but they believe him.
Well, everything that
are they going to say, like, was Russians like an issue? Like, can they go like, who sent you? Was another country, like, who's watching us? You know, that kind of thing. They're definitely going to be suspicious of him, right? And when he says that he'll tell them the truth, he doesn't really have too much to back up his statement, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the conflict of the scene itself, is that, like, he's going, I don't know what's going on, and they're ripping out his phone. Like, this camera he just bought is now getting like ripped apart.
You know what I think happens? I think they see that he's just a rookie. They see this guy has no idea what he's doing, you know, and maybe they rough him up a little bit and they send him on his way. And then when he's gone, he's like, why were they so interested in me taking photos of this guy and this girl? There's something serious going on here.
Yeah.
This is the case that...
This is the case.
Yeah, exactly.
The case.
So before we do that, then, whenever we can have him setting it up and somebody tells him, like, every private eye has one case. Whether it's like 7 years or 10 years, you got this one case they can't solve. And like, I've heard that in films before. Like, each person has like one case that just they can't get, like, they get locked on. And so maybe he's like, it's my first fucking case. You know, like, my first case is the case. You build that up. And I think that's right. And I've seen it in films. I think it's in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, where he talks to a cop who's like, there's always one case that's just messing with your head, you know? This guy gets it, case number 1. So that's really cool. So I don't really buy how he gets out of the interrogation room. I don't think they just let him go. However, I do think we could move on from this.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to give it a little?
I'm just thinking
a couple of minutes?
Him fumbling with his camera, and he's really nervous and crying or something.
I would love if they obviously take the camera off him before he goes into the interrogation room. So he's down to his bare bones in the interrogation room, like a shirt and his trousers. He has nothing on him at all. But they lock him up maybe for 3 or 4 days because they're waiting for the film to be developed. There's no 24-hour rush. There's no 1 hour rush now at the moment. It's like, we're waiting for this to develop, so we want to know what.
He didn't take a selfie of the Roswell crash.
Thank God for that.
So yeah, they have him locked up, you know. So 4 days later, he comes out and he's in bits. He's pissed off now. So I was like, now I want to know what these fuckers are after. What are these hiding from me? This is not just.
Maybe he heard some stuff when he was locked up. He heard people.
So what do you think they did? Is it an alien was coming down and they killed it, maybe, and that's what they're trying to hide.
Yeah.
That the first sign of life from another planet, and they've destroyed it. So that's what they're hiding from everybody.
Yeah, I don't even think it has to be the first sign of life. What I like to do is to like open up the whole Roswell thing, as in this wasn't the first or last time this has happened. Or maybe it is the last time this is going to happen. But like this is something that the military or the government are doing. But this is just one instance where they were caught in public, and it looked like a cover.
That'd be cool, because that'd be then why they're like, are you working for the Russians? Like, we don't want the Russians to know about this. They'll kill us.
Right.
They'll destroy us.
I'm trying to think who was president at that time as well.
It's definitely not the North Koreans, the way this film would never come out.
I think it was Roswell.
Because I know Truman. There's loads of conspiracies about Truman and aliens and all this sort of stuff.
That's true, actually. Yeah, well, that's one of them. I don't know.
Yeah. I think.
So they have shot them down before.
Yeah.
They will do it again. But this is the one time where some bumbling fool happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Oh, beautiful.
And we'll just get him out of that place. We might come back to how he got out of the interrogation room. I think it'll take a while to figure that out. I mean, it could be something. Ways you could do that is he tells somebody where he's going to be, and then they show up looking for him. Things like that. There's so many ways you can get him out of this room, but you could spend ages trying to think of it. Yeah. So we'll move ahead. Is that okay with you guys? Just to move out of the interrogation room. He's out.
He's out. He's free to the world now.
He's out. They're going to keep an eye on him. They kept his camera, which is kind of like he can get his camera back. But I kind of like the fact that it was such a big thing for him to get it.
It's his first camera.
Yeah. And they're like, we're keeping it. And he's like,
I got it 2 days. Or 3 days or 4 days. Like, come on, man.
So now he's out. And I like what you guys are saying too. Like, is he going to? He's not going to let this go then, right?
No, that's it. And
it just piqued his interest, right?
He's a detective for a reason. You know, this is like piqued his interest, as you said, and he's suspicious. Why were they so tough on him? Why does the government care about a little private eye and some
what did I do?
Some affair, like, you know?
So he, in this interrogation room, he now still believes that it's about the couple, not the crash.
I think he's starting to realize that there's a little more to it. There are a lot more to it than the couple.
So where's he going to go when he leaves when he gets released? He's going to go back to his office, isn't he? That's all he has, isn't it? That's all we know that he has. He doesn't.
But in Noir books, I love the fact that usually after like a good ass kicking in these books, like
they get evicted from their offices.
No, like they go back. They usually like sit in a bathtub. They drink scotch and eat like boiled eggs.
Right.
Like it's pretty standard that they're just like they have like
cold cut straight from the fridge. Isn't
yeah,
it?
it's like toasted eggs, and like they pretty much just live on that, you know. And it's like they sit in the bathtub and like they nurse their wounds. And I don't know, like he can go anywhere, but I just wanted to bring that up because I think that is a natural thing somebody might do if they've been. It might have been 4 days of interrogation, but you might want to like rest that off for a bit, and then because I think what's cool in those books when they do that is that gives the character time to think. And what they're thinking about why were they locked up in that interrogation room for 4 days, and that's what pushes them to keep going because it's like I have to know. So, where do you think he should go? He could go back to his office? I don't think he would.
What if he lives in his office? What if he has an office and just off the office, that's where he lives? Did they say that? Wasn't that...
He could.
I think I've seen that. I'm pretty sure I've seen that.
What was that, the newspaper one? I can't remember. It was Jimmy Stewart's in it and the Noir is like I can't remember it.
So, where's he going to go?
For some reason, the mistress is popping into my head.
Yeah, I'd love him to go back to his apartment, get into the bath, do what you just said. He's just there, he's reflecting, he's thinking.
The next day he's in the office.
That's when he's getting the idea. But then for the woman just to come, the mistress to come where he lives and just like, where have you been? Like, you're gone 4 days.
I like that. Yeah.
I'm about to pay you half your money already.
Yeah.
I'm not getting the other half of the money unless
like you spent it all on the camera.
Yeah.
Where's the camera? It's gone.
It's like, so awesome. What is the story? What is happening? What is happening with my boyfriend?
She's all these questions. He's like, I've got questions for you. You know, who the fuck is your boyfriend?
Yeah.
Who is this guy? Why is he at this government military base?
Now she gets cagey, and we got our film fatale right now.
She knows something.
I think she knows a bit more about his business, but
she has access.
She knows enough to be like she knows enough. She knows more than she's supposed to know.
Yeah.
She knows enough about him to say like that. I shouldn't ask questions about his job.
He would never discuss his family or whatever in front of her. But imagine if they were doing like the the affair that she didn't know about for a couple of months, she would be picking up little things he said along the way, and that's as much information as she has. And that's what our character, John Hamm, I don't think we named him, John Hamm is trying to like get out of her. So all he's going to get is that little information. Like, it might be as simple as he works for the government, which is, I think, enough for him to put the connection together, going, the government should kick my ass for 4 days, and this fucking guy in Parliament works for the government. Something like as simple as that, but it really can kind of lock him into what's going on. It just pique his interest, keep him going. I love the idea that she comes and questions him.
And I love her as well, like, for her to be his reluctant psychic. Like, he doesn't want her there, but he needs
That's
her.
A classic femme
fatale. She won't leave him because she wants the answers. She doesn't trust that he's like this.
Well, she can get him close to the boyfriend, right?
Yeah, it's true as well.
But he also doesn't trust her that well, which is classic.
So now he has to have a psychic, but he doesn't want it. She doesn't want to be with him, like I said, but they need each other.
So the woman was basically, we're talking about the femme fatale, and he doesn't trust her, but they're going to be sidekicks basically, and he doesn't trust her, she doesn't trust him, because that's classic noir.
Oh yeah.
So they're basically now working together. And we haven't even revealed here that it's his family, She doesn't know that. So she's still trying to figure out, is this guy having an affair? And our main character, John, it's just John. John is going, what else is going on here? Like, why would I get picked up by the government when I'm following a government guy who's having an affair with this other woman? Like, there's too many unanswered questions.
Yeah, and now he's starting to wonder what was going on with that crash thing.
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah, well, when he's in the back, he puts two and two together. Basically, that it can't be a coincidence that a crash happened and I got held up. There has to be something.
I think when just going back to when he was locked up for 4 days, and it's going. I think maybe he might have overheard or seen some shit.
Yeah.
Like if they were if it was like some army guys in the middle of the night bringing something that's wrapped up through the hall, like, get this thing out of here.
With a giant head. Big oval head on it, tiny arms.
That doesn't look normal.
That's fucking E.T.
It was a gremlin.
In my mind, if I was in John Hamm's situation now and I see that explosion, the first thing in my head is going to be, it's an airplane.
Yeah.
Okay? On reflection, I think going with that idea in my head then after 4 days and then having a bath and really thinking about it, I'd be like, America is being invaded and they're after shooting down an enemy plane.
Oh, because we're just after World War, aren't we? Or is it shot?
Yeah, that's like 2 years after the World War II ended. Or something along those lines, like someone is coming to invade, or that's an enemy plane. Who is it? And I'd say maybe that's the basically the smallest party idea that he has of what he's trying to find.
Yeah, it's true. I can also see as well, like, again, as we were saying, like this woman who hired him, give her a name too.
Who do you see? I don't know. I see like a blonde, like Renee Zellweger or something along those lines. I always see her as a kind of like a mistress, or maybe an Emma Stone. She's not too bad.
Depends on what age group you're going for. I mean,
she's probably too. Emma Stone, maybe a bit young as well.
I've seen her in what was that, Gangster Squad?
Oh,
she had that. She pulled off that timeline very well.
Give her a name.
Let's call her Grace. Let's keep her as Grace. We have to give Grace an actual plot this time.
Yeah.
Instead of
she's kind of instigated quite a lot of this anyway.
So basically, what I'm thinking is, he gets out of her little bits of information. Mm-hmm. I think that's what a detective does.
Yeah.
And so she's like, he works for the government. And then maybe he's a scientist. And he's like, well, what do you mean? He works for the government or he's a scientist? That kind of like. Yeah. And so now he's like, well, what's going on? And so together, then they need to work together, because he's like, I don't have all of this, and you want this solved. Like, bring me where you guys go. And maybe that's where the journey for them kicks off. Like, he doesn't know what to do next. Like, and he's like, I want to know this, and he just
where'd she live?
Her. Yeah,
let's go to his apartment. Where'd she live?
Yeah.
Oh, he never brought me there. We always went to ours. Okay. Now that if she says something like that, that's a kind of a tick. All right, so he's hiding something from you. If he never brings you to his place, he's hiding something from you. What is he hiding? There's another now. Yeah. It's another magic box or mystery box. Is like, right, there's another question now that we need answered. Like, and that could be to keep them going. That could be a question to keep it going, because that's all it is, isn't it? for the trail, the cookie trail. Is like we need to keep on asking questions every time.
Absolutely.
We need like 3 questions to be answered, and they find one answer, and another 2 pop up. Yeah. We always need more questions.
Like gremlins in water.
Yeah.
So, but I do like the idea that the notion where like it's government and science, because immediately you're now giving this guy they're following. You say he's a general, but maybe he works in like a scientific.
Like, how do you know he's a general? How do you know he's a general? Tell me that. Like, did he tell you he's a general? No, he didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, so what made you think he's a general? Well, I seen his ID badge. I'd assume that he's like a.
And she describes like an emblem on it, but like a shitty description, like like it's very specific. It might come back later when he sees a similar emblem.
Yeah, it's like a gold eagle or something along those lines, or
with like whatever, like with wings straight up in the air. It doesn't.
It's a trident or
yeah. But things like that. So basically, the point is we're trying to bring them to the next place, and where are they going to go next? Because we do want them deep into the alien.
We need that to happen as soon as possible, so the aliens don't just jump out.
But I don't think he would go back to the site. That doesn't feel right.
No, because how's he going to get in? How is he going to get past that? He's going to get caught again.
So there has to be another location.
There's too much risk.
The crash site is just a site where they take them down, and then they must transport them to another location, some sort of lab where her boyfriend works.
How about this though? This is where we do it. The general, the scientist general guy, has no idea that she's hired a private eye, so he still sees her.
Yeah.
So they're going to meet up, and John Hamm's going to follow them.
Yeah.
Because for what this general guy, he has no idea that she's hired somebody. So they will meet up, and that's when John Hamm will follow him and find out where he lives. And that's when he sees the wife and the family. And she's probably with him at that point. Right?
Has to be a message on the answer machine. Oh, can we meet up later on? They always have answer machine messages.
In the 40s?
I don't know if they did have them in the 40s. Maybe.
Did they not? No.
I don't know.
I always thought it was answer machine messages. No, it doesn't matter.
I thought it was always like matchbooks. It was always like a matchbook or from a nightclub or something like that. But since this is more government, maybe it'd be more like a business card or something.
There's aliens. There should be science ovens and
He's got a bit of high-tech.
What we talking about with the answer machine? Where are we going with that?
That's how the general gets back in touch with the mistress. Like if he goes back to the house, he's like, we need to find clues. And that's the clue that he finds. And everything has to be a clue, some sort, like it's some description. So the general's left a message on the answer machine. Say there's an answer machine. He's after leaving a message on the answer machine. I'd love to meet up with you tomorrow. Can we meet up tomorrow? So then John Hamm is like, right, you were meeting him. And we're gonna quiz him. Like, I'm gonna hide, but like I'm gonna give you questions. And you need to get this out of him. This is we do the booth thing, where he sits with his back to the general, and she's there talking.
But the answer machine can even be inconsequential there. It could be like she never wants to see him again, and he's like, no, you have to see him again.
It could be the kind of thing where John.
That's a mechanism, isn't it? It's not.
John Hamm and her are like on one side of the door, and the boyfriend's outside knocking on the door. He's like, come on, I want to meet you. And she's like, no, I'm not going to. John Hamm's like sort of poking
behind the door,
something like that. Because I think that something has to.
Waldo's.
The only reason I said answer machine is something has to fall into their lap. They have to be given something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he can't just keep on finding them as well, or like using his smarts. Something has to fall into his lap. So there you go. So he knocks on the door, and John Hamm is hiding behind the door.
Yeah.
And so then basically, the couple now go off, and they go for cocktails or whatever. Like it is the 40s, and they go to a cool lounge, I love the idea. He sits.
I love it.
Yeah.
And it sits on the reverse, and he's just listening to them. And even like when the general gets up and leaves, whatever information, get more out of him. Like, and they're like turning back to back to each other, like face each other. Get more. Shut up. He's coming back, Yeah. But it's like now she's on a mission. She's gonna she has to get information out of this guy. But it's not about who he's sleeping with. It's really about what is going on in your job.
I don't think though. I think that maybe when they're in the cocktail bar, she's like goes selfish and it's like, so she's acting weird, asking questions like, why are you acting so weird? I know you're seeing someone else. And then John Hamm is like, no, don't get into this, don't get in. I know you're seeing someone else. And they have a fight, they have an argument, and then he storms off and John Hamm's like, what are you doing? Like, you're not sticking to the plan. You have to find out the question. Go back and apologize to him and get him back on your side now. This is ridiculous. Like, it's not about you. It's about something bigger.
No, but I love that. But no apologies. He's like, where are you? She's like, where are you going? He's like, I'm going to follow him. I want to see where he's going now. You pissed him off. And then she follows. No, you're staying here. No, I want to go with you. No, you're staying here. So then they go together.
Yeah.
And I think that's whenever the reveal of the family. That family should be revealed then, right?
I don't know.
Because, I mean, if you're going to get into the aliens, like, the family is just a thing, right?
Well, that's what I'm thinking now. Like, is it really important to get into family at that stage? Is it not more important to get into the aliens?
I would love if...
No, but, like, if he goes back to the house and you see the family, that's a thing. But we now can follow him from now on. Like, now they know where he is. That's just kind of a way to locate him, you know?
Okay, yeah.
And we do kind of close her reason, like, basically... Her story of
so her case has been solved essentially.
Is the husband.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And then maybe when they're seeing this, they see something he recognizes to know that this keeps going.
Yeah.
He sees something that he saw at the site or in the interrogation.
I don't know. I'm thinking like if you could steal an ID badge or something like that. You know, that type of thing. Where
what if when John Hamm leaves the mistress behind, he goes and finds that he has a family. The general has a family. But then later on, when he's talking to the mistress is like, so what did you find out? And she's like, nothing. But either we make John Hamm keep the truth from her that she's the mistress, or he tells her there and then, like bluntly, you know, you're an idiot.
Keep it from her.
Yeah. So then he has to
keep her along.
He has to get her like following.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like I love that idea though. At the very end, she's like, but we never found out like who is the woman that you see. And it's like, you are the woman. Could you imagine that at the very
aliens.
But aliens is a backdrop to this now. It's like it's always been about me, you know. So he's either solving a massive case, but the little case is like the final case he solves. Like it's you're the mystery.
So he follows.
The general, and he goes back to the house.
Back to the house, sees the wife. That could be anything. Sees the kid, and that puts family there.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think he's about to leave, and then he sees something else, right? Because then we really want to get that back to the alien thing.
Yeah. It's
like a fine line between, okay, we've given you something on the other case. As we said before, the two cases combined. This is where we're starting to see them cross over. Yeah. He's about to leave, and he sees one of them doing something, or maybe somebody shows up.
Somebody shows up.
A van shows up.
One of the guys
who picked him up.
Yeah.
One of the interrogators shows up. John Hamm in the bushes.
They rush the general guy out of there. They're like, we need you. Come on the car out of there.
What if though?
Love it.
We said though the general doesn't know who John Hamm is, right?
Yeah.
So what if the two secret agents, two agents pull up in a car to collect the general and his wife? Okay. But when they park down the road, maybe, or they park away just out of view of the house, the agent goes and as he's about to knock on the door, John Hamm just knocks him out, takes his hat and his badge and his jacket. And basically poses as him,
as the interrogator goes.
And so then when the general opens the door, he's like, okay, you're here. Okay, let's go. And John Hamm was like, okay, let's go.
Remind me where we're going again? Got in the car, you know?
No, but then there's another guy already driving or something, you know? Or maybe there's a guy driving a van, so he sits in the back, or maybe...
No, it's one or the other.
I think one guy comes to one guy goes to pick up the general. John Hamm's like, hey, remember me? Bam! Knocks him out. Like,
I like
that's sweet. That's sweet revenge.
Because it is a little revenge. Yeah.
So now he knocks on the door. It wouldn't be a surprise thing if that was the way it was going to go. It wouldn't be the general was surprised. He'd be like, "Where were you? You were late."
Exactly. So let's go. And he just bombs out of the house straight away with his briefcase and all. He doesn't hang around. He's leading John Hamm. Maybe
and then it'd be great if John Hamm's driving. So he backs up and there's like it's the other way. He goes left instead of right. And he's like, "Oh, sorry."
What if the general decides to drive? It's like I get motion sickness as a passenger. I always have to drive or something. That's what he drives.
You're missing a funny beat.
No, I like him directing.
That's his own scene where like he doesn't know where he's going, but he's trying to pretend like. So he puts on.
So he's walking down the dark alleyway, not knowing what he's seeing.
So he's putting on an indicator, and he's like, and then the indicator goes the other direction.
Yeah, I think that's good. And like,
where are they going?
They're going
back to the base.
The next crash site. There's going to be another crash tonight.
Okay. Another crash or another shooting down.
Yeah. Another forced crash.
What if they've moved the alien?
There's a new location.
Yeah, they have to move location, so they go to a new location to experiment on the alien or something. That's where they're going. They're at the moving the ship and stuff, so they're going to a new crash site. Because John Hamm is out there popping up and apparently taking photographs, it's like this location is being compromised. We need to go somewhere else. So they've already gone. Now the general and his wife are going to this new location.
I agree. I like that. Like if you're gonna have somebody let somebody go from an area, it's going to be covered up, right? Like you're going to be like, let's move on. It never fucking happened.
Yeah.
This is what it is. So John Hamm gets into the car and he's like, okay, I'm a smart guy. I'm going to go back to the crash site.
Yeah.
So he goes to turn left and John's like, no, soldier, we're going to the new crash site.
The last site was compromised.
We're going to the new location. Sorry, sir, my brief has been quite short. I'm not privileged to that information. You're going to have to tell me. You're going to have to tell me where we're going.
We've been doing it a couple of days.
Exactly. It's pretty top secret. I'm
be so good. The guy tells him to take a photo. It lasts longer. He's like, "You took my fucking camera."
So that's how we get away then with John Hamm, not knowing where he's going. It's like, okay, I'm not privy to this information, so you're going to have to direct me.
So he directs him to the new base.
The new base.
Okay.
The new base of operations.
Do you think it needs to be another crash, or is the one crash significant enough to stay with?
No, I think one crash is enough, and he moves.
No, what do you think?
See, I'm thinking, I like the idea of the fact, the idea that they're going to just experiment on the alien from the previous crash.
Yeah.
But I also like the idea of it being the next another crash, so you know that they're doing this on a regular basis.
Okay.
You know,
So they're shooting these fuckers out of the sky, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And
But are we gonna? So if that's the case, there's a new crash. Are they going to a base, or are they going to go to the next area where it's going to fly over?
I think the next area where it's going to fly over, they shoot it down.
Do they set up
retrieve the cargo?
Okay, and also in this, then, does it mean that they just stand out there on their own, or do they set up like a base of operations?
There's some people there, but the general guy needs to be there. Because,
cool.
You know, he's the expert or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I don't mind it. I just think they should be some kind of area with like tents or something that they're going to, instead of just a bunch of guys standing outside.
No, absolutely. I love the idea of there being tents and stuff there that they can just start.
And we have our character infiltrating them and has no clue what's going on.
And he doesn't know what has just happened until they've got this alien on an operating table or something, you know?
Yeah.
And he's standing there watching all this stuff happen in shock while they're like, just going through the routine.
And it's like, it's normal for them.
Yeah, it's totally normal for them. Yeah, they're like, geez, we've got a good haul this time, you know?
Yeah, okay, so
get a bit more information.
So, okay, we'll back up just slightly there. Yeah. So they get to the base, like this makeshift base.
Yeah.
And because we're missing the thing where he finds out as an alien, like that we just jumped that. So let's go back to that part, and like he's out there, and he might even think it might have been put together, like you said earlier, like it's like he thinks it's another country's attack, and then he starts finding out from clue after clue, like basically seeing these things, and he's like, my God, like this alien. He might even like say something out loud and get dirty looks from people going, obviously, like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Like, it's such an amazing moment here where he realizes there's aliens. He does realize there's aliens now.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, so what can occur?
They shoot down the ship.
Is that when he sees it?
Yeah,
like
we're seeing them shoot it down.
Okay, sorry.
We're seeing maybe this general guy is in charge of the satellite missile program thing or whatever that shoots down the science thing.
The alien laser science.
Yeah, they're like, I'm tracking the
science.
We don't have answer machines, but we have lasers.
I didn't say lasers. But so he sees all this stuff going on. They're like, I'm tracking the craft's coordinates. It should be over shortly, and we'll be ready to fire. And he's standing there thinking, this must be the other country's planes coming through. This must be the attack. And this is big. So then. They fire, and this thing starts coming towards Earth, crashes, and it's this awesome flying saucer or some sort of spacecraft. Yeah?
Inside, Muppets.
Gremlins.
Will Smith, Jeff Goldblum. Where are they coming back from the station?
They went through a wormhole.
It hit the ground. Jeff Goldblum's like, must go faster.
McConaughey comes along as well.
Yeah,
he's a ghost.
So this is all set in the library then, isn't it?
Yeah.
The bookshelf.
Okay, so that's awesome then. So instead of having someone just say it, like he sees the crash.
See a big spaceship crash.
So,
as well, like.
But also from the distance, he doesn't see what it is.
It's just a dot, like.
Yeah, and then it comes towards them, and like it's even like a panic scene where like it's actually they didn't expect it to be coming towards the camp.
They had to move back a little bit.
So like they're like, because you kind of want him to be close to when it collides, right? Yeah. It pierces the ground, dirt's flying everywhere. and then it's an alien ship right in front of him, right?
It has to be that Sam Neill look when he sees that dinosaur for the first time. That like take the hat off and he's like, "What?"
And then
like a crash suit or something.
Then all the guys in their giant suits and stuff are like running around him and they're getting straight to work, but they're all ignoring him because it's like, time. But we stay on him, going like, what the hell?
That stuff is just happening, but it's all very routine as well. Like we're saying, because these guys do
exactly,
They pry open the door, pull out the bodies. And these aliens are still kind of alive as well. They're like, they're just after crashing, but they're
what if you see just like the glimpse of a foot or something of the alien? You don't see the actual alien. You see like little a shoulder or a foot or
It might be cool. It might be cool to kind of see a glimpse of an alien look like you see an alien like face like looking like just.
I'd love to say that till later on though. That payoff. Yeah, I don't know.
I think so. Well,
what do you think?
Think of it this way: to relate it back to noir, like shadows and stuff. Like you see, like an outline of something in the like a shadow of something can have far more impact than just seeing it flat out. Yeah. Considering that we were playing with the private eye, detectives, like that kind of lighting,
Yeah, what you don't see is often like worse than what you do see, and it's
definitely. But the only thing I'd be saying about catching a glimpse of one of the aliens looking kind of beaten up is so you have that bit of sympathy for them.
Well, that humanity
so you're seeing that the government guys are the bad guys here, and even John Hamm is, even though all this stuff is just happening around him and it's all a lot to take in, he can still see that what these guys are doing is wrong and that the aliens are the victims here. But I'm not saying show them full on. Better.
You want to see a sympathetic eye or something. I don't want to see like a full alien. That's the only thing. I don't mind what you see of him, but as long as it's like small and quick, All
right, so he's there, and they dissecting it, the alien, or does he follow the alien?
I think he's the bodyguard of the general.
Even if he either way, even if he is or he isn't, I think in that kind of area you could easily see him walking around anyway. They're so focused on being busy, no one at this point is going to be like, "Hey, sir, you're here, you're already at the party."
That's it. And I think as well, it's not just people dissecting aliens. They're taking the ship apart. They're taking out these crazy gadgets and guns and
like answer machines.
That's
where the answer machine comes from. Hey, we found this laser. What do we shoot them down with? Never mind.
Did you think you can heat food up? We'll call it a microwave.
But they're taking out all these
box
gadgets and they're
boxing
in it. They're boxing up all these gadgets. They're putting them in baggies, and everything's really routine and by the book. They know exactly what they're doing. But there's also guys that
they're completely methodical.
So then what we're looking at is there's just going to go two ways. He either leaves with all that information or
someone recognizes him.
This to be recognized, isn't it?
Right. We'll continue with this. I think this is where I would lead, but I don't want to really lead you down.
That's what I like. No, that's what I could picture someone recognizing him and him having to.
What about the guy he knocked out earlier?
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it.
He comes back. He phones it in.
He comes back with. He can use a message.
He calls someone. He sends someone a text.
It's a telegram. Yeah.
He comes back with the bloody nose, and like I said, it's him,
Yeah.
And an amazing scene. Then he gets in this spaceship. This bitch can fly.
Yeah, that's actually one thing we haven't got is a car chase.
Yeah,
there's always going to be a car chase.
Yeah. So this is our opportunity for a car chase here, then, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. So he jumps in one of them. Oh, those awesome old school cars too. Jumps in that car
through the desert, like in Albuquerque, New Mexico, kind of thing.
Hits one of the small towns. Cool. So we're in the middle of a chase scene now. And where's he going? He can't really go home, right?
No.
Or he's trying to lose the tail. So does he lose the tail? He must, right?
Yeah, he has to, doesn't he? He has to. I think that. What's his goal now?
Does he?
This is the thing. What's his goal now?
Does he take the general hostage or something? So because we need to get him to a place where he can find out more information about what's happening here. Does he take someone hostage? Does he kidnap someone?
What if when he's actually in the camp at the time when they're all working and pulling the parties, he's just walking around and he's mesmerized. This is a massive thing now. This is huge. This is blowing his head. He can't even take it in. He's he's looking at things, but he's not absorbing. And he's walking around. He's seeing things. It's all kind of happens in slow motion.
Chris has his hand up there.
He doesn't have to kidnap somebody. He can hop in a car, which has a very important artifact in it.
Yes.
So when he gets to his place, he looks in the back and he's like, okay, they're definitely going to need this, So now he's stuck. He's like, they're definitely looking for me. I have this thing, I have more questions, you know, like we have to tie that back into the other case.
What's better than an artifact than the folder or the briefcase the general brought with him on the car trip? The general brought with him a briefcase, he left it in the car. John Hamm jumps back into the car, the briefcase is there. Now this is all government files with information, and this is basically proof that this is after happening. This is like, so the general's like, you had to get that shit back. Like this is, we're out in the open. Like, this is the conspiracy now. This is where we're gonna try basically tie in the conspiracy. I think of like, it happened. No, it didn't.
He's got the proof,
so he has the
in a
proof.
briefcase.
And I think that he basically hands it off to someone, or you know, that's in my head now. Is like he hands it off to someone, and that's where the little nugget of like, this is what's going on out in area. Was it 52? Is it or Area 51? 51.
Yeah. Area 51.
Yeah, Area 51 is like, what the hell is going on? Well, this is Area 52 now.
This is 52. Area 52.
What happened over the previous 50 areas? You know?
Area 52.
52 of them? Come on!
That's where Krampus steals the kids.
That Krampus, man.
Don't get the aliens wet.
Yeah.
So,
is that what happened? It rained. And then
so I like that though. So now he has all the documents. You know, he's got.
This is his relic of purity. This is his. This is the temple of doom.
So he has this now. But that's pretty cool because now he can dig through that. One cool thing about noir and detective stuff is the paperwork. I mean, you want to get past that quickly, but you always know that's important because that you need him to find documents, paperwork, something that he can use as leverage. You know, like I people think I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. I've got this. You know, like this case is blown wide open and stuff like that. I think the girl shows up then. We got to bring her back.
The mistress.
Yeah.
Does he go back to the mistress?
What?
Does he go back to? Is that where he goes, to the mistress?
Because we really want to keep them connected. You know what I mean?
That would be really cool. Actually, he goes back to the mistress. She opens.
It's a good idea because she's already visited him already. So having that again doesn't work. What a great place to hide out.
Yeah,
the general won't put this together.
The general has no idea that she's involved with private eye, so he's never going to look.
Last place you're going to look.
Yeah. And he's trying to stay away from her, isn't he? The general's trying to stay away from mistress,
So when he goes back, he bursts through the apartment door. She sees like the briefcase or whatever, or the file that he has, and she's like, "Oh, so is this the file?" And he like gets down. He's like single-minded. He doesn't give a crap about what she's saying. He sits down at the table, pushes everything onto the floor, starts laying out all this information. She's looking like, "So how is this? Like this isn't like what is this? This is not him with his girlfriend. Like what's going on?" He goes,
in her mind, she's like, "Where's the affair?"
Yeah, she's working for him. Like so, then it's like, "This is not." He goes, "You are the mistress. There's bigger things," or something like that. You know, he basically said, "It's not about you." You know,
I could totally see John Hamm doing that. By the way,
yeah, just being a dick. Like
definitely.
Dick for season after season in Mad Men. Yeah, so I like that. I like that a lot. So he's got the information. Boom, 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 boom. All right, so I guess it's just kind of what's he going to do with it now? You know? Is his goal now to tell the public? Is his goal now to blackmail the general? What is he going to try to get out of this? He's stuck in a situation now. Like, they know who he is because they interrogated him. He accidentally stole their information. So, like, what can he actually do now to get out of this situation? Does he hide it? Does he hide the briefcase and organize to meet them? To, like, parlay, basically, go, like, I want out. I don't want this, you know? Like, what is our main character trying to do now that he has this information and they're after him?
One thing that I love is a fallen hero. A hero that like meets his demise, you know, trying to do the right thing but doesn't happen. What if he fills in the mysteries about what's to happen? He's actually seen the alien, the satellite, basically, and he's like, "This is wrong. You know, we can't be doing this stuff." And he explains it to the mistress, and he's like, "You know, this is beyond us. Like, no, we need to tell someone." She agrees with him, maybe. But he gets all the information. Like, I have to go and talk to someone about this. I need to find I don't know where to go, but I need to find someone to help us. So he gives her the file. He tells her to hide it, so she hides the files. He leaves the apartment. When he's walking down the street, he gets picked up again. Maybe gets killed. Maybe gets shot.
Who does?
The John Hamm. I think that maybe like he dies. Like, you know, the agents they're to find him. They kill him. Now it's in the mistress' hands. She's like, you know, this general, he was a fucking asshole. I'm his bitch.
He does not die.
I'm gonna screw him up. Why not? Like,
because it's like, it's his journey, you know? It's a journey from being the rookie detective to cracking the biggest case.
In noir films, they're in every single scene, no matter what. They're in every single scene.
Right. What I would love to get to, right, is he finds out that these government guys are pissing off the aliens. Okay, they're they're pissing them off. You know, like they're shooting.
They're giving them wedgies.
No, but they're shooting them.
Giving them noogies.
Purple nurgle.
Kicking them in the testicles. You know,
Indian burn. They were just bullies in general. But they're shooting them down, and they think there's no consequences to their actions. Okay, but somewhere in space, wherever these guys are coming from, there's some mothership or there's some higher race or some army that are curious about where all their ships are going. And
but they're getting pissed off.
So they're getting pissed off, and they're like these government guys are basically incurring the wrath of like some alien army, and if they don't stop what they're doing, it's the fate of the world, really. So this detective has stumbled onto a really big fucking case. You know, it's not just
the case of all cases.
Yeah, it is. It's saved the world. You know, it's the ultimate case. It's not just
okay.
So basically, he's a superhero nearly.
So with that being said, that information has to be in that briefcase, but they don't know that he found that.
Yeah,
or they chose to ignore that. You know.
Yeah, I think that's some sort of coded messages or something.
That's cool. So now we know that's where he's at. So that's exactly. So when I was given,
convince them.
When I was given those options, there's none of those options. It's the fact that something bigger is actually occurring, and he just found out. So that's his motivation now, is to stop them from basically incurring the wrath of the aliens, right?
What if that's
is that that's right?
What if that's his logical outcome? Is basically, look, you're shooting now. That's his thinking. They don't see it that way, but his thinking is, you're shooting down these aliens. And so one came, now another's after coming.
Yeah.
So what's to say more aren't going to come? Like, you know,
they just think, oh, we'll just keep shooting them down.
Yeah. So you shoot down an enemy plane, another enemy plane is going to come, or how about hundreds or thousands of enemy planes are going to come?
And he's like,
this is war.
And we're getting advanced weaponry off every plane that shows up, you know. And these planes keep showing up. Every time we shoot one down, another one shows up in half the time as the last one. You know? So it keeps showing. And then we shot 2 down like 2 weeks ago. You know.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys.
Yeah, maybe he notices a pattern. It's not.
Absolutely.
It's not explicit in in what it says in the briefcase, but it's like, the first sighting was a year ago. Then they shot down that plane, and then a month later, a retrieval group came to find out where their last guys came, and then it started happening every week, and then it started happening every day. So he's like, very soon we're going to be overrun with these attacks. They just keep coming.
In a different film, like Pacific Rim, have a really nice notion where like the big creatures keep coming out of the rim, I guess, the hole in the bottom.
Pacific Rim?
Yeah, gradually they keep coming out more and more, so it becomes like shut that hole.
Yeah.
Basically, this is going to go one way.
Exponentially.
So we're kind of in that area when you talk about that there's more and more showing up, so it's like we have to stop this. So, not saying that you have to close the Pacific Rim per se, but you have to like notice that we keep killing them, they keep showing up. This is a pattern, we have to break it.
Do you ever think if they came, they might just leave and not touch us? Do you ever think they're just being inquisitive?
Yeah.
Do you ever think along those lines that we don't actually have to kill them? Not here for.
Yeah, maybe we could work together. Maybe that's why they've come to Earth in the first place.
They're explorers, they're geologists.
They brought potato salad, they just want to have a picnic.
Exactly. And the government, they're obviously exploiting that.
Yeah. Okay, so he has a briefcase. What's he going to do now?
So we got to the point where he's in the apartment with the woman, hasn't he? So that's where we're leaving off now.
So what we have with him, she's like, what's going on? He discovers this. What does he do? Does he try to contact the government? Does he try to blackmail them? I'll expose everything. Or does he try to just infiltrate them and shut the entire operation down? Or none of the above?
I think it's definitely one of those. I suppose the obvious one that pops into my head is that he tries to reasonably, maybe tries to blackmail.
Yeah, what if he gets picked up again?
I'll go public with this if you guys don't stop what you're doing.
I think we could do both.
You might get picked up again.
I think the infiltration is the final act.
Yeah.
So I think maybe he does hand off the evidence to the mistress.
Yeah.
And then try to organize the meeting. And in that meeting, he's like, hey, if anything happens to me, like this, all this evidence goes to the paper. Like I gave it to somebody, right?
But you know what I think like the end goal could be is to save one of the alien captives. You know, if he can send one of them home, then they can put out the message, you know, don't go to fucking Earth.
Yeah, there's one okay guy on a planet of douchebags.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, let's stop going to Earth because they're just going to shoot us down. It's going to incur a war that
I really like that.
What if we had a second interrogation scene, and when he comes back and he basically says, "Okay, I need to talk to you," and they bring him into interrogation. Mm-hmm. So then you have maybe the two agents that were there before, and some others, and were like, "We knew you were up to something the first time you met you." It's like, no, I didn't know anything.
Yeah,
you have basically showed me everything, you know. And then he goes in, and that's when he explains to them, and they're like, "Okay." So it's like maybe that's the point where he basically informs them.
Well, how about he's not in an interrogation room? I think he's gone to meet them in a place that is populated, and he wants to reason with them. He's got his evidence to keep him away from their clutches, and so he can barely get away. But he wants to make sure that they understand the ramifications of their actions, right?
Yeah.
So he's gonna try to reason with them. He's probably gonna fail, and they're gonna be kind of. You said earlier, like the rhetoric about like we have their weapons, like we'll be okay no matter what happens when they come, and he's like, okay, this is not going to work, but they can't really capture him because he has the evidence against him, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't think it's just a straightforward whistling handshake, like handshake and walk away. They're probably going to try to do something. So I think he has to escape again, barely. Maybe it's like he runs out the door, the mistress is driving by in a car, he hops in the car. So it feels like that time period as well.
Yeah, so if that's going to happen, maybe they do it out in the open. He doesn't, when he agrees to meet him, he already has this plan in his head. He knows,
absolutely,
he has a contingency that this is going to go south, so he has her waiting. So we do it outside, basically. So he's standing outside with the meeting, outside the containment areas or whatever. So he has a chance to escape. He's smart now. He's thinking one step ahead.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I can't imagine ever being in an interrogation room and getting through a load of armed guards and out of a building and then into a moving car.
I think it needs to be in you would never be like, hey, let's go to the interrogation room. It's got to be, hey, let's meet in an open place.
On my terms.
Because otherwise I'll I'll release the evidence.
He goes back to the first crash site, basically, where he first seen things, because he knows the area. He has
that's not really public, though. That'd be more of a private area.
Public. Sorry, I didn't hear public. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear public.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, so it goes wrong, right?
Yeah.
Like they don't agree. They're basically going to capture him anyway. He gets away, right?
Yeah.
And so now he knows that they're not going to listen to reason,
and he knows he has to do it himself.
Okay, so he's going to have to take them down.
Yeah.
All right. So here we are. We're third act.
Yeah.
And he also, if we had that idea where he didn't have to jump in the car, but we like her helping him, she saves him at that point. So they're together now.
She distracts the general or something like that.
Yeah, something. Either way, they're plotting, they're together who are going to solve this, Now, how are they going to do that? What are they going to do? Are they going to infiltrate the base and break it down? Are they going to or actually, you were saying earlier, they're going to break out the alien.
I want to get John Hamm in a room with an alien. That's probably the weirdest thing I've said all week.
That was a fantasy of mine too.
I'm not even talking about this movie. I just want to get John Hamm in a room with.
I love it. Okay, so basically.
So there's a ship that still works. There has to be a ship that still works.
What about then? You said earlier on that he figures out the timeline, so he knows what things are going to happen. So he preempts the next.
Oh right, okay, the next bit.
Maybe he preempts the next communication.
Yeah. Oh, because he's really good at numbers and clerical work from the spreadsheets. He's all in the spreadsheets.
Yeah. So I like that. That makes perfect sense. So basically, he's like, we're going to break out this alien and we're going to hitchhike the next fucking ship. Get your 7 thumbs out.
Yeah. What are we going to call him? E.T.?
Yeah. But that's awesome. So that's perfect. So now we have what his mission is. Him and the girl are going to infiltrate this base with the clear intention of breaking out the alien.
How do they know the alien's in there?
Well, we can set that up in advance. don't worry. Because we're making this so off the top of our head doesn't mean we can't go back and plant information like that.
Yeah.
But let's just say that he knows.
Yeah,
Instead of going back and finding where it goes, like in another draft, we'd put that back there.
This is draft one ideas, basically. We're mapping out the story.
So they know there's one alive, and you know there's one alive too, because you even said it's that sympathetic eye one.
You saw,
the eye alien.
The alien, yes.
Yeah. So he's going to free that little creature. So he goes back. Okay, so him and the girl, they're on a mission now to basically break into this place, free the alien, and then try to get that alien to catch the next ship. That seems pretty epic.
Yeah.
And it seems like a really tough thing to do.
Definitely. And because he doesn't know what's going to go down when this ship lands.
Yeah.
You know, are they just going to vaporize him?
Because not to jump too far ahead, but we know he's going to... Like, so, with this being the same way, like, we can say that the alien does get the lift. But it could be that scene whenever they're waiting, and he's got his watch out, and he's like... It's not right. It's a bit late, so they're like, "Oh my god!"
General, when people are coming,
and you can see the cars in the distance.
Yeah.
What about
the general left 7?
But this ship is a bigger one because this is like D-Day or something. You know, this is like
What if just before this epic event happens, and he says the mission's like, "So what are we going to do now?" Like that obviously failed, and he's like, "I'm going to get my camera back." That's his thing. Is like, I'm going to get my camera back.
Yeah, when they're freeing the like Guardians of the Galaxy, when he picks up his Walkman, like they free the aliens. Like, I'll meet you in a second.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Look, there he is. You are an imbecile.
Yeah.
Your camera? What? We're going to get your what?
Do we really have to go into how he frees the alien? I think that'll take a long time.
So what he does.
Yeah, he frees the alien
and like
chase scene.
Yeah, like it's like
he already has the uniform. He has the ID badge to get past everyone.
Yeah. They know him at this age. Like, oh, hey, how's it going?
He's got the rugged good looks of John Hamm.
Yeah, it's like who's not going to let him in?
Those dreamy features will convince everyone. It's like a Jedi mind trick. He's like, this is the alien you weren't looking for.
It's just a single hot lady is actually on the door that day. John Hamm walks up with his like Prince Charming chin. Is like, I'm gonna talk my way in here.
Yeah. So he frees the alien, runs off. You know, there's a chase. I think that I love that. Like that they're waiting.
Yeah.
The generals are coming. Like they're closing in. And then, what do you think?
I think
giant spotlight.
The generals are there. They have their guns out, and then the aliens come there.
Spotlight.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but I think they land and they come out, you know. And this is the first time we're really seeing aliens at full power because we've only ever seen them after they've been they've crashed and they're jet lagged and they've been flying the galaxy for hours. Like these aliens are fucking ready for battle. Like
so we're playing with the time zones again.
Yeah. They come out with their laser guns and their answering machines and they're ready to just they're ready to fucking kick some ass.
Is that how they communicate your answering machines?
Yeah, it's actually really not productive at all. They're just leaving each other messages constantly. They call me back.
You're saying everything twice. This is not productive, man.
Right.
So I think they come out and there's a bit of a Mexican standoff kind of thing. You've got your alien with John Hamm and the mistress. You've got your general and his cronies, and you've got your super aliens, just after stepping out.
Your Starship Enterprise is hanging on there.
Yeah, so we've got our Mexican standoff here.
Okay.
And
in New Mexico, too.
Oh.
There's
a New Mexican standoff.
Yeah, that's the name of the movie.
We got a Lairs.
So, okay, great. I love this. All right, so we have them all standing off.
Yeah.
And let me think, like, when you were saying that they come out, and I think that's such a good reveal of the aliens, so much so that I don't actually want to see the alien they've saved. So could we even hold the fact that he's really weak?
Yeah, he's wrapped
and wrapped up.
Yeah,
so
like the mistress is looking back over, it's like, what is that? Like, what?
Yeah, but the audience don't really see it.
We don't
whenever
see it, but
they come out of the spaceship, it's like the real first time the audience see that.
Yeah.
But the reason I say that is we have a standoff, right? So who's going to win? Like, I think nobody can really shoot except if this collapsed alien gets up and like walks in the middle or whatever.
Yeah, I think these aliens are so advanced. They're like benevolent creatures, but they have the technology obviously to do battle. They can crush us, but they choose not to.
So I think this. Go with me if you want to change it, no problem. But I'm thinking that the alien that he saves is the one that saves humanity by going like, this one guy saved me. They're not all bad. That kind of thing, right?
Like absolutely.
Because I don't like in a standoff, it's amazing. But is it really going to end with shooting?
No,
Because the aliens.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see a bunch of American generals shooting at a bunch of aliens.
But also, well, one, I don't think it really fits in what we're doing.
No, not at all.
Two, if we're going to say that the aliens are so advanced, are we going to say like they'll just crush the
they
troops?
could, but they choose not to.
So I do think that it's got to be the person they save, the alien they save.
Yeah, maybe it would be good
Sacrifices
to see them.
Do you think so?
But you know what might be good.
John Hamm sacrifices himself.
No, he lives. But what might be good to see would be if one of the general's guys was a bit like gung ho, and he was like, I'm going to take the bad guys down with my 1940s Tommy gun, and tries to, and the aliens, they just fucking. Like, we see the power of their weapons, it's something we've never seen before.
I like that.
And they just obliterate.
The power of magnets.
Okay? Yeah, with magnets.
The power of magnets.
Fucking annihilate.
I like that.
Okay? And that's...
Dust.
It doesn't turn into a bloodbath. It's just, this is what we can do. Don't...
And I can see our detective jumping out in front of everybody. Go, stop.
Yeah.
Like,
and then the alien as well.
Yeah.
What was the mistress that runs out? And she's like, no, stop. And you see behind her, John Hamm is like carrying the alien off the back seat, and he's bringing it over to the spaceship. It's like, I'm handing you back. Like, please don't hurt us. Like, that's.
Yeah. Either way, like I think they do have to make that choice. They have to stand in front of the humanity, like the troops of America, of the world, like, and be like, stop, like, this is going to go that way. You start, once this body of troops start opening fire, it's world as we know it done.
Yeah.
So you have these two people, the guy and the girl standing in the middle, and then the alien, like, gets up and stands in the middle too. So it's like,
I like that.
communal. They
have one person from each side against this whole thing.
Yeah. Okay, and then they just take their little mate. And they leave a couple of answer machines,
Yeah.
This is for you. This is for you. Here's a box of the Mogwai. Be careful with it.
They just say the 3 rules of gremlins before they leave.
This is awesome. This is an iPhone, but you won't be able to use it for like 40, 50 years, okay? But when you can use it, it'll be awesome. Trust me. Twitter is just on the side of their spaceship.
And then, I think it's a bit of a walking off into the sunset.
I think that's would not be better that the general runs over and he sees the mistress. He's seen the mistress for the first time. He's like, "What are you doing here?" And she just slaps him. It's like, what are you doing cheating on me? It's like the aliens have got like aliens. She's still focused on that kind of. I am not a mistress. It's like this is her thing. This is what she wants. Like she just goes and slaps.
It's a great end shot. One of my favorite end shots of all time is from The Third Man. Whenever, like, after the whole thing, the villain has been revealed and defeated, and our hero is like standing there on like a road, and the woman who he helped but kind of screwed over at the same time, like, is walking towards him, and just hold the shot as she just walks right by him and keeps walking. Right. I just think something along those. I love those kind of things where it's like the hero doesn't even get the girl. Like in Noir, he shouldn't get the girl. I don't know where I'm going with that, but I just think
I think the two of them just walk by the general. He's just
the general's. But the general's left there is like, what the hell is what she did there?
And she's walking off, and John Hamm's like, maybe I should go arrest that guy. I think that's great. That's like case closed.
Or, I mean, is it really bad if the girl hooks up with the general? Like, even after all of this shit, she chooses the general over our detective. Is that so bad?
What if she walks by?
It's just in Noir, really, you don't want the guy to really, like, he usually figures out the case, but he's usually left alone.
I don't mind if John Hamm doesn't get the girl. I don't mind that at all. But I don't see why she'd go with the general. I think that her journey is that she was, going out with this guy who's a villain. He's, he's cheating on his family with her.
Does she go with the alien?
And she's like, I think I'm done on planet Earth.
I like to go to the second film.
Come on, baby, come with us.
I've got green skin anyway. I probably look better out there.
So either way, look, but in definite classic noir terms, what do you think of that it ends there? So I guess, it just comes down to, like, would you watch that, Connor?
Yeah, definitely. I think we got a nice mix of the two genres and a bit of comedy in there as well. It's a pretty interesting story, so definitely watch it.
What do you think, Steve? Would you watch that?
Definitely. Neither of them are my favourite genre, but I could definitely get in.
Should we ask them what they think?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, is it a hit or is it a dud? Let us know at StoryBreakers on Twitter.
Yeah, you can also find us on Facebook if you so wish. anything. Like, let us know if you like the simple idea. Did you like the whole story? If you want to rewrite the story, what parts would you take, or where would you go? Do you want to get rid of the aliens? Do you not like John Hamm? Tell us what actors you want to play the role. Who is our present day noir?
Who'd be the good leading lady? I think we had a...
Poor Grace always gets left out, doesn't she?
Yeah. And as we say as well, if you like it, it's yours. It's free to take.
Yeah, just don't be a dick, give us a little credit at StoryBreakers.
And a big thank you to Filmbase for allowing us to use their facilities to record this amazing podcast.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to do it without you guys.
Okay, and I guess that kind of wraps it up for this week. Be sure to subscribe to us and don't miss the next episode where we will be rebooting another film. But until then, it is Christopher Brennan saying goodbye.
Stephen Ryan saying goodbye.
Conor Dowling saying goodbye. Thanks, Will, for having me on the show, guys.
Our pleasure. Until next time. Welcome to StoryBreakers, a show where we come up with a brand new film idea every single episode. And if you like it, it's yours. I'm your host, Christopher Brennan, and let me introduce you to our co-host, Mr. Stephen Ryan.
Hey, guys.
We have a special guest. Is writer, director, editor, Mr. Conor Dowling of Curved Comedy.
Hey, guys. How's it going? Thanks, Will, for having me on the show.
Welcome back.
Yeah. Couldn't get enough, did you?
Absolutely, yeah. I've been watching Gremlins all week.
A little backstory to this. Once we finished the last episode, we started chatting on the way out about noir films. We brought up noir films because we had a couple of podcasters discussing that on our last show. And we decided, why don't we just make up a noir film off the top of our heads for episode 3? So Conor graciously gave us a little bit more of his time, so here we are.